This is the video to help prepare for Tuesday's stations. Station 1 is going to be metals, nonmetals, and metalloids and comparing physical properties. You will need to click Student Copy of Periodic Table to open up this link. We will be utilizing this for the rest of the week. You also will have a formula chart that I'll explain more in the next video. So you need to click here for practice assignment, and it's going to ask you if you want to make a copy, and you're going to click make a copy. Once you do that, this window will open up with the assignment. And basically what we're doing is we are organizing characteristics, descriptions, examples, and mystery examples of metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. So what we do is we read the card and we place it in the right section on the table. So for example, we need to identify where on the periodic table our metals, nonmetals, and metalloids are. For example, the easiest to identify are our metalloids. If we look at our periodic table here, we can see our metalloids are always located here on this staircase. And your metals are to the left and your nonmetals are to the right of that staircase. So your metalloids serve as a divide in our elements on a periodic table. So located on the zigzag line would be our metalloids. Okay? And then we go into our characteristics. We're just going to continue on with metalloids. Do we describe them as shiny or dull or semiconductors? Do we describe them as shiny, silver, gray, high melting points? Malleable, which means that it's moldable or bendable or it can be made into a shape, or ductile, where it can be drawn into wire. If it's ductile, then it's a good conductor because we use copper wiring in our phone chargers to help conduct electricity to charge your phone. You can also describe elements on the periodic table as dull, low melting points, brittle, or breakable. And if it's brittle, it's not going to be malleable or ductile. And these elements are not usually good conductors. They're better insulators. So each of these describes a certain type of element. So for example, our brittle, poor conducting elements are our nonmetals. And our malleable, ductile, good conductors are our metals. And whenever you see the word semiconductor, it's almost always talking about a metalloid because sometimes they're conductive and sometimes they're insulators. So if you see semiconductor, it's almost always talking about a metalloid. Then we go on to talk about examples. Okay, so we have our examples here, and all we need to do is look at our periodic table. I found my metalloids. So my examples are boron, silicon, arsenic, antimony, tellurium. If I go look at these cards, copper's a metal, carbon's a non-metal. So boron, silicon, arsenic, antimony. Those are the ones that I just described on the periodic table. And lastly, for metalloids, you're going to talk about a mystery element. So we look at each one of these and decide if it's describing a metal, non-metal, or a metalloid. So we know nonmetals are brittle, we know metals are malleable, and we know metalloids are good semiconductors. So this is the one that belongs here. Then when you go to transfer this to your activity sheet, you're going to write the numbers here. So metalloid is 6179, all in that upper right corner. So I'm going to put a 6 here, and then it was a 179. 6179. And then I look here and it says description card for nonmetal. So I go to description, nonmetal, and I would record what numbers here. I would record that there. For metalloid, it says the mystery element for a metalloid, which was the number 9. So the last number of this code is going to be a 9. Okay? And then you'll just complete your extension and your reflection, identifying what's true or false about metals, nonmetals, and metalloids, and describe each of them some specific characteristics and vocabulary that I talked about in this video.